Right, so are live on a welcome to the second ever Google Educator Kentucky, the Google Educator Group of Kentucky, our second ever live. My name is Don Pierce. I am a fifth grade teacher slash technology integrator for Eminent Independent Schools. And down on the end there, she's having some Wi-Fi issues, but she's still going to join us, is Brooke, whose microphone's muted. Now it's unmuted.
Hey, I'm Brooke. Personality at East Hardin Middle School. Have through 8th graders, variety of all kinds of technology stuff.
And next we have Heidi.
Hi, I'm Heidi. I am a elementary librarian in Kentucky.
And James.
Hi, my name is James Allen. I'm a high school librarian at Oldham County High School.
And Mike.
Hey, I'm Paul. I'm a student teacher at Bardstown Middle School, also quite possibly the worst offer. So, glad to be here.
I don't know how to follow up with that. But anyway, so the purpose of this Hangout, guys, I just wanted to kind of have a quick discussion about, we had one about 3 weeks ago discussing kind of how we planned on using GAFE, that Google Apps for Education, in so we're about a month. We started in Eminence the last week of July, so some of us almost 2 months, and this 3 months, I feel like, for most of us. So I just want to know, how are things going? What successes have you seen? Like, what have you tried? What worked? What hasn't worked? Etc. So, Brooke, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So, how, Brooke?
Things are going really good. I actually was going to share, yesterday I presented at KCSS in Erlanger and did a session on Google Sites and designing your Google Sites with Canva. And in my session, I kind of assumed that there was a lot of people that already had Google Sites based on the discussions that I had with the leadership of KCSS. And my session was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and when I got in there, it turned out that nobody had a Google Site. Some schools weren't even sure if they had Google. So I ended up doing more of an introduction to Google Sites and started from ground up, how to create your site, all the different page options that you have in there. And then it just started built. About a 50-minute session. I probably could have gone on for about 3 more days. And sorry, can you hear me? It cut out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You're loud and clear.
Okay. And so anyway, they were super, super excited, and I actually, this morning, I woke up and I had 2 text messages of screenshots from Twitter that a couple of the people in my session had tweeted their new Google site, and they also had tweeted a couple of posters that they had done for their classroom on Canva. Mike, I knew you would be excited. And then I had probably corresponded, I'm not kidding, about 15 different times in the span of about 24 hours with a lady from Nelson County. And she was actually my mentor teacher when I was student teaching, and she sat in my session in at KCSS yesterday. And anyway, they had Google Apps in Nelson County. She realized she had them. And so by the day yesterday, she had got her whole school set up on Google Apps, like all her kids had accounts. And by this afternoon today, she had a completed Google site. She was sending me emails. I was looking at the time because I woke up this morning and had a many her, and they were like 9, 1 o'clock, 2:30, in the morning from where she was so excited about it and just didn't realize that there. So I was really, really excited about because I feel like there were good came to that a lot because I feel like sometimes that Google site, the redheaded stepchild of all Google apps, not a lot of people use it and they don't, I guess, realize what all you can. Honestly, we have probably 60% of our school right now are using Google Sites as sort of their management, I guess, type. So I'm really excited about Google Sites, as I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah, I agree. Sites is one of those tools that it has, a lot of teachers, when they look at it first, it almost looks like a static web page. But you put it in the hands of students, it's so to do things like embed docs, embed anything you want. What's that? The embed the button there, where you can put forms, work, drawing, anything on there easily.
Well, see, that's another thing, and that sort of came up also in the session. Like, we started out, of course, by the way, I made up everything on the fly in the session because, it was just what I had planned was not what they needed. So I trashed the slide and we just went straight from the web, and it ended up being good, but I was able to show them a lot of the other apps through Google Sites, and that's one of the reasons I really like Sites is because you can embed your slideshows, you can embed your forms, and the whole thing for me is, I'm in a computer lab, but a lot of our classes at our school, they have access to iPad carts, and we have one full set of iPad on every single grade level. And anyway, so the teachers are putting their slides on Google Sites, and so the kids are pulling it up and they're able to see that, right there at their desk. They're able to do formative assessment right there at their desk, and then up on the screen has a pie chart, and it's all really easily done just through the site. So anyway, I could talk for days and days and days about it. So I'll be quiet and let y'all talk.
So I posted a link in the chat, and I'll post it in the comment stream once this is over with. But Andrew Stillman, the Google certified teacher he did the Doctopus and the Gubrick script, his New Vision Cloud, the Cloud Loud people, they put together a Google add-on called Site Maestro, which what it does is it allows you to take a Google site template. So then, when you run it basically copies the template, how many times you want, and it shares it however you want between you and the students. So what I did was, for some of my fifth graders this year, I made a template for a way of them proving that they're learning the fifth grade math standards. So as the year goes on, as they come across different docs that they create or pictures, whatever, they can just go to the site, embed the proof that they did it in there, and boom, and it's directly shared. It's all on one spread, so I can quickly click through and see all my student work. It's pretty neat.
Well, you brought up Octopus, and right now our district is where us been able to use Google Classroom, but I kind of feel like I'm late to the party. This Octopus, Gubrick, oh my goodness! It's amazing.
Oh, I think we lost Brooke.
Oh, really? I'm sitting here talking. No, hello, anybody?
I have her.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear.
Okay. Well,
We
so
I'm back.
There we go.
I'm here. Have no
fear. Did you? Okay. Anyway, I'm not really sure where to pick up. I've totally lost my train of thought.
fear.
Yes. Well, since we're not able to utilize Google Sites right at the moment, Dr. and Gubrick, our teachers love those. Of course, we're all bringing Google out in our school, so that's anyway. But starting a Voxer blog, several teachers, administrators that are on. It's just a really cool tool because we just get on there real quick and we we talk about this or that, and right there in class and just kind of share with each other. And so I had a teacher today who got on there actually in my building telling us about class folders,
Yeah.
which I haven't had a chance to play with that, so I'm really excited about looking at that a little bit more. Does that do sort of the same? Like, how is that different from Doctopus? Just based on what I've
So
looked at.
they're all around, like they all use Drive API. G-class folders and Octopus play really nice together. Actually, I think with the latest version of Octopus, you're able to, like if you make a copy of a doc or a spreadsheet or a drawing or whatever it is, you can tell it in your student drive which to go to. That's the class folder part. And supposedly, I haven't tried it out yet, but with about a week ago, Stillman, the guy who wrote Octopus, he figured out a way to make it play nice with Google Classroom. So if you out student work in Classroom to your kiddo, you can pull it up and paste a rubric directly down the bottom, or a Google at the bottom of each. Hello? She muted.
Sorry, I just it took me a minute to unmute myself. Okay, sorry, that was a delayed reaction. So that's really cool. But anyway, the point in saying that was that the more teachers are getting into Google Apps, the more confident they are in to find new stuff and better ways to do things. And at first we thought Doctopus and Gubrick and that of all the app stuff was going to be your teacher, but it turned out to be exactly it.
It's 30 minutes start, and then once you
Yeah.
get it set up, your student templates are in there forever, or your student rosters are in there forever. So every time you pass out something, there you go.
Well, I actually, a couple of teachers really knew that they would see the value. They would be turned off by having to insert the rosters. I just pulled the sub-roster for the campus, and I did it real quick and then shared it with them. And we just copied and pasted it, and then they were sold. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this with all my other classes. So I put I front-loaded a little bit of the work for them just so they would be really excited about it. And they were. I loved it.
And that's with Google Apps. It's just when teachers want to see what you can do, that ability to share, the ability to see what your students are doing real time. Sometimes it's just one little hook that gets them sold on.
Well, I'm totally hogging the microphone here, guys. Sorry.
Wait, what? Wait, James, what's she doing?
Oh, I'm hogging it.
You're hogging it? That's right.
Okay. Well, there's an app for that.
That will launching at KIST 2015. Get ready. Hog it. It's like Foursquare for stuff.
I'm going to keep focused here, guys. Come on now. So anyway, I got a screenshot from a teacher where she was doing editing. They were doing blogging. Kids were editing in suggesting mode, which I had suggesting mode on in my Google Docs. I was like, oh, this is getting on nerves. But then when she sent me the screenshot, I was like, wow, this is really valuable. So for me, I didn't see the value. And then we started we were doing reflections on our work ethic standards in our district. And so then I started using the suggesting mode because she sent it to me, and I was like, this is great because they still see their work. It's not like you are writing it for, but you're just, it's just a really cool, it's all real time and it's live. So.
And you pick what you know will work best. You get the base level, at the SAMR model where you're just substituting the normally textbook through digital means and things like that, but you can take it as far as you want to go. All right, Heidi, you're up next.
I have to unmute.
I know, right? So what have you been up to this year, Heidi? I haven't seen you much.
I know. I've been all over the place. We are not yet scratching the surface with Google Apps. I'm super interested. I've been trying to learn a little bit on my own. Mostly, I'm just working in like what's available to me with like through Google, like forms, trying to get things embedded and showing people examples of what could happen if we actually go all the way. And I'm really just, like I said, scratching the surface. And it's a little frustrating because I really want to embrace it full on and move forward. But I've had some questions about people using the Google Forms and like Flubberoo. Did I say that right?
It's a debate. I say Flubaroo. Supposedly it is Flubaroo, but I've heard people say Flubberoo. James Allen.
I was thinking Flubber. Yeah, I don't know.
Flubberoo. I say Flubberoo.
Flubberoo. Okay. Flubber.
Yes, Flubaroo.
Flu. So use the flu. Okay. So I've talked a little bit to people about using that, but I just think that we could do a lot more with it still. So I'm learning as much as I can and trying to absorb as much as I can to share.
Well, it's a huge workflow time saver, right? I mean, it's just like the Doctopus thing. Like once you learn how to do it, spend 10, 15 minutes on a Saturday teaching yourself this one trick, and then you can grade 100, 200 quizzes, multiple choice quizzes, whatever, within seconds. So yeah, you got to front load the work, but throughout the course of the year, it'll save you so much time that you can then spend to go and work with your students.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So it's just finding the little things, the perfect things that are going to be complementary to teachers the quickest that I think is going to be the buy-in for us.
Forms are cool. Like you can do some pretty neat things with forms outside of just giving them a test, right? And I know that's kind of the thing that a lot of teachers look at first because they want to say, okay, well, how can I replace my text assessments and make them go digital? But, like you can have your students create forms too.
Yeah. Yeah, and they want to survey each other, so yeah. I mean, give them a chance to do it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Mike, I know you do a lot of stuff with forms in terms of like flipping the classroom, right?
Yeah, I just finished up my, focused unit that I taught with the kids, and I set up a Google site for the class, and each day I put up some content on the site, maybe a video or something that they could watch that talked about what we were talking about. We were covering fractions and percents and decimals and converting between them. And then I would also include a form, and they had an option. They could either do the traditional paper worksheet homework that we give them in class, or if they wanted to, they could go online at home or at school, either one, and complete the online homework, which would be just a Google form. And then I'd, check every now and then, see if anybody completed it, and quickly grade it with Flubberoo and email it out. So, here's how you did on the homework. And use this as a study guide to prep for your test. And so it was really cool. And several of the kids, I sent a link to the site out to their student email addresses. Of course, we had to get a lot of them to use their student email address for the first time, which was an adventure. But once they got in there, they were like, "So when I click on this link, this goes to your site that you made?" "Yeah." "So I can just go in there and do homework, and I don't have to do paper?" "Yeah, sure." "Okay, that sounds pretty cool." So it's little things like that. It's baby steps, like you said, where we're just kind of substituting a digital alternative for paper. But that's where we get things started. Now, I've got several other teachers that have never used anything with Google before other than a search engine, now that are starting to use forms and Flubberoo to grade quizzes, tests, and other things. And I'm going to keep doing different things with them over the course of my time there as a student teacher. But it's been really cool so far to see people get excited about using tools.
Well, that's the thing. Like, once you learn one Google app, you just want to see what else is out there. Because they all, I know Drive's the one that teachers usually start off with, but they all have a collaboration piece built into it in some way, shape, or form. Like Google Maps, Mike.
Yeah, and I was in a session with Donnie a couple weeks ago where he was showing Google Maps, and we talked about, or he showed, using Google Maps to compare the size of Greenland and Africa, which was really cool. And I thought, hey, I can do that in class, and I can ask the kids, because we're talking about proportional relationships and percentages, things like that, about what percent of Africa's total area does Greenland take up. And so pulled up the map, and here's Africa and Greenland, and you drag the Greenland outline to Africa, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's shrinking, it's so much smaller than Africa, but it looks so big. And then they really freak out when you take Africa and move it over Greenland, and it consumes like half of the map because of what's going on. And my university supervisor was there that day, and he told me, he said, hey, you may want to let the kids, tell them they can do this stuff at home if there's an easy way to do that. And I'm like, oh, but there is an easy way to do that, because at the top of this map I created, there's this share button. And I can just click that link and get a link and send it out, and they can go home and they can show mom and dad, hey, look, watch what happens when I drag Greenland to Africa, and look how much smaller it gets. And how awesome is that? So that was a really cool thing, not just for me, but for them, that they could go home and show mom and dad what they were doing in school today, and which is great to keep parents in the loop. And Google tools make it very, very easy to share things like that.
Yeah, I mean, and so so what Mike's talking about is I'm going to do a screen share real quick, is the My Maps feature, right? It used to be called Google Maps Engine, but about a week ago they rebranded it as My Maps. And so it has the draw a polygon feature, where you can, sorry, let me go ahead and start all over here, where you can create polygons. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah, right? Where you can draw polygons and such on the map. It's cool for math, by the way, because not only does it draw those polygons and stuff on the map, but when you click it, I don't know if you can see it in the Hangout, it might be a little blurry, but it tells you the square mileage of your polygon, and it also tells you the perimeter around. So you could have the students, find your house, find your school, draw a polygon around that area, compare the size, etc. But then what's neat is to get a social studies tie-in, you can talk to the students, like Mike's saying, about how, well, on a map, you can't do a round surface on a flat map without it getting distorted. So you can take, like, Greenland, for example, and slide it and show how it's really nowhere near as large as you think it is. Like, it barely fits over Australia. Really cool, innovative stuff. And these, by the way, all these maps, like James and Mike was saying, all of these maps are publicly shareable, and you can actually have up to 50 people editing one of these at a time. Let me go ahead and stop screen sharing there. I have a slight borderline obsession with My Maps, and I'll have to share some with you guys sometimes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So how do you get to that? You said it was My Maps?
Yeah, so it used to be called Google Earth, not Google Earth, Maps Engine, right? But about a week ago they rebranded it as My Maps, and they've just pushed it out where now it's a whole lot more user-friendly. You can now actually, I'm not screen sharing anymore, I just realized. Let me go back and start screen sharing. But now you actually have the ability where you can have multiple layers, the size and stuff of the different polygons, you can have as many as you want. You can have your students basically create their own custom maps. So you can do a lot with it. Like a lot of teachers, they'll go ahead and do a lot of neat cross-curricular activities where they'll have their students, maybe take like a nonfiction text or something and map out the events in the story in the text. Or maybe they'll go ahead and, map out political events that are happening in the world. Maybe there's a conflict going on somewhere that they want to have mapped out. And they could map out where they've been, where they go on summer vacation, etc. Really cool stuff. All right. James, how have things been going, my friend, Mr. President?
President-elect.
All right. Hang on. I'm going to draw on you here in a second.
Oh, don't do that. I have some pretty big news for the Oldham County.
What's that?
We have a GAFE domain now.
Really?
And I have my own account.
Woo woo!
and a little button where it can create new users.
Yay! So did you?
We're like halfway there. I need to get our district person to help us figure out how we can create student accounts with that little STU at the beginning of their email address. 'Cause right now I'm stuck with, just the end of our email address at the end, and I can't put theirs in. So, but we're close.
Yeah, it's in the admin panel. It's underneath users, and you add a secondary domain. It's not too bad.
I don't have access to that part. I just have to
Okay.
tell them what to do. And so we're like halfway there.
Yeah, that's exciting though, man.
I know.
What's the first?
Possibly getting like a classroom set of 32 Chromebooks to use and
Yay!
explore for our ultimate goal of giving students the option of what kind of device to bring, but kind of like a mandatory bring your own device.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of paying tons of money for textbooks at the beginning of every year.
Well, over time, those pay for themselves, though, right? Because the end of life, no matter what device you get, will last you 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. So for the Google stuff, since we're just now getting the GAFE stuff going, I haven't really had a chance to use that. But I'm really excited about how the forms have changed. How you can customize put your own images at the top and change the fonts and.
Hey, I have a question about that.
Yep.
I wasn't finished.
James, can you change your your GAF form? Like, can you customize that? Because on mine, yeah, I can only customize my forms on my Gmail drive, not my GAF. Should I be able to? I just thought maybe it was sorry.
Can I answer that? They're pushing it out slowly. So they did all the Gmail addresses first. I did not get the ability to customize forms in the GAF accounts until about a week ago.
Okay.
So it's a slow, delayed rollout.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if it was something I was doing wrong or if maybe I needed to update something. I wasn't sure. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So look at James's awesome survey.
Yeah. So I replaced the thing up here at the top, and I changed the fonts a little. So you can't. I mean, I love Google, but it's almost like it's like this customized form that you don't even know is a Google form until you get to the bottom and see the powered by button. But you just go over here, and this is where you edit the questions. But if you click on Change Theme, you can go over here to the side, and there's a bunch of cool new ones. Or you can click on Customize underneath the bottom, and then you can change all of these things right here. It's really easy.
Hey, are you able to get some of the header images? Because some of the demo ones they have are like GIF files. Are you able to get any of those to work?
Underneath
the header image.
Like right here?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Because they've got all those templates built in there from Plus, like the Google Plus events.
Like these kinds of images?
Yeah, like some of them are GIF files that move that are really neat.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think there's one under Sports. Click on Sports and Games there. Yeah, but it's a GIF file there, but when you try to put it on the form, it doesn't. I thought it'd be kind of neat. It would also be really distracting, probably.
Well, that would be I just had this idea. I could create my own GIF for my own form.
Of like your face?
No, of our library. And speaking of our library, we use this form every single day. I mean, this is not like super exciting Google Docs stuff where kids are typing. It really helps us collect information on which kids are coming to the library, and we use this we look at this and see, who's coming and which kids need the library more and what resources they need. I want to show it to you. Is my screen still up?
Yes.
Let's go to my drive. It's under library. Sign in. So here's our September one. I changed it to this kind of one of their fall header images. But anyway, we have 2 computers set up at the front of the library, and the kids come in and they sign in. And they answer these questions like which class they're from, what grade they're in. They choose first, sign in or sign out, and it takes you to a new page depending on which one you choose. And there's like their purposes here, whether they're from study hall or not. And this is really cool for when teachers are calling and looking for these kids, or they're asking, like, especially from another day. So I know this is kind of substitution in the SAMR model, but the old way we would have to flip through like this clipboard, and there was no way to search. But now I can just type their name and pull up the 30 times they've been in the library in the last 3 weeks.
Book fair week, right?
No book fair for me anymore at the high school.
Oh, that's a shame.
But, I mean, that forum has really helped a whole lot because at the end of the month we have all the numbers right there and we don't have to work to get all this information. It's just automatically being sucked in as the kids come in. It doesn't really take them any longer to log, to sign in than they used to. And if there's a fire drill, I've got a link on my phone that I can just click on and see who should be with us. Don't have to think to grab the clipboard. And one more thing I want to share real quick.
Okay, can I just say that the fire drill thing, that's amazing and fantastic and is just about the most awesome idea that I've ever heard of.
Oh,
that's awesome.
I didn't think about it until we had a fire drill. And my partner librarian was like, how do we know which kids we should have? I'm like, it's right here on my phone. That's kind of how
I could picture you throwing down, James. I could totally see that.
I did kind
it's on my phone.
I kind of like, I was pretty excited when I figured that out in my own head, yeah.
Well, that's the trick, isn't it? I mean, they can pull this stuff up anywhere easily. Like, that's what's so cool about this.
Yeah, and so I've been sharing these tech tips with my teachers, and I've also been sharing them with other people. And I really like how easy and nice looking it looks when you share out an entire folder full of things. So I click on this little link and share this link to whoever, and then they can use these tips at their own school. They don't have to use them on the same day as I do or whatever. They can change them, edit them, whatever. It makes it real easy for me to go back and just, pull one of these up and use it if I need to.
So when you share those out, do you have them you don't have them posted on another website somewhere? You keep it all in Drive?
They're all in Drive. I use Snagit pretty heavily, but I kind of create this in the email that I send the teachers at the same time.
Cool.
And I will be quiet now.
Yay. Thanks, James. That was great.
Okay, I have a question for James before he goes too quiet. So, James, on that form that you showed on the library sign in, sign out, is that the new thing that I've seen in forums that either has been there for a long time and I just haven't paid attention to it, where it's like send to this page based on their answer, that there's a little drop-down option? Is that what that is?
Yeah, and I've used that a lot. Oh, I meant to show another one. I could talk about forums all night. Yeah, you just click on a little button and it's kind of like an option, like what happens at the end of this question. It's either like that's the end or take you to a new page. And when you're editing, it's all kind of in line. It's all on the same page. But when you go to the live form, it's all broken up into the.
So my friend Michelle Armstrong, she's a Google certified teacher up in Canada, one of the provinces. I don't remember which one. They're all kind of the same. One of the ones where they speak English.
They are. If you look on the map that you shared.
Right. Anyway, so she actually uses that go to page based on answer things to do like a choose your own adventure in Google Forms, where she'll have like 10 to 20 different pages, and then based on the student response, you are here, blank, blank, blank. You stumble across a key on the ground. What do you do? Click here if you want to pick it up. Click here if you want to leave it alone. If you go here, it goes to another page. Okay, you have the key in your hand, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of another unique, you could use forms for like a writing assignment almost, right, where the students would have to map it out ahead of time, write it out, and then go through, create the form, and students would know if they, beat the game or beat the form if they made it all the way through to the end.
Yeah, that's a cool idea, especially now that you can add the images and stuff inside.
Oh, yeah. And YouTube videos, too.
Yeah. Because I've done something similar, like even just in a presentation. You click here on the slide, and it takes you to another slide. But I've never thought to do that with a form, though. What was that?
Nice face there, James.
I just had a thought. Oh, we also use. I don't know if I talked about this in the last one, but we also use forms for our. We had a mock election, and we recreated the actual ballot in Google Forms, so it looked almost exactly the same.
Oh, cool.
And we had every social studies class in the building come down. We have 1,500 kids, so it was like a big deal. Like everybody came to the library. We had like 90 computers set up, and everybody was kind of voting like really fast and furious. But by the end of the class period, I could send that teacher the results of their class, like how it turned out, and they could talk about the results. And I just took a little screenshot of the form summary results and sent it in an email before they even got back to the classroom.
So definitely one thing that, James, since you're a GAFE district now, at the top of every form in a Google Apps for Education district, you have a special option where you can make it where it automatically collects their username. So, like if you're doing a class election, at our school, for example, we just used it to do our homecoming at Eminence. So, we said, okay, students, you've got to be logged into your Eminence IND account in order to vote. And it automatically collects their username, so that way you know that there's no shenanigans going on where they're like voting twice or voting for a friend.
We did have some voter fraud.
Yeah.
There were some kids that were like clicking submit over and over and over again.
Hey, I have a question about that.
Yes.
Are you saying yes to me?
Sure, Brooke. Go ahead. You haven't talked in a couple minutes. Sorry.
I tried that to have it collect their data, and it would not let, like, when they tried to access the form, it wouldn't even let them on the form.
So I think that's because don't you have like two? Don't you? Because
we have the like at Hardman and the at Stu. So is that the same kind of issue with Classroom?
I imagine so, because
Gotcha.
probably up the top it's saying require blank blank blank, but it's without the Stu dot in front of it, right? So it's looking for, like, teachers could probably take it, but not students.
Gotcha. So the collecting the username part, they obviously have to be signed in, but it has to be in the same domain as you?
Yes. Yeah.
So Donnie, are all of your kids using the same domain as you, as the teachers?
Yes. So yeah, we created our own domain, and we just kind of roll with that each time.
So we're not going to be able to do it with the subdomain.
You know what, to collect it though, the trick would be just to make a dummy student account. No. Yeah, make a dummy student account, right? And then with that student account, that's what you would use to create the form, because by default it would ask for, it would require the subdomain. So if you want to do it that way, you'd have to try it out. I imagine it would work though. Just make the form with a demo with a dummy student account and do it that way. That could work, Brooke.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a really good idea. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on that one tomorrow.
All right. And then what we ended up doing with like the homecoming ballot, just in case to stop kids from voting twice, there's an add-on in the add-on, I almost said add-on store, but in Sheets called Remove Duplicates. And when you run the add-on, it looks through the sheet for any column for duplicate entries. So we just looked for username or whatever it was that would do it twice, and it highlights all the duplicates. Then you just go through and either say, "Oh, deleted," or "Oh, I know that this student forgot his email address, so blah blah blah."
That is some fancy homecoming voting right there.
Hey, I have another question.
Hey, school on fire, baby. School on fire.
Okay, I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
So how can you get them to email you a response when someone submits a form? Is that an add-on somewhere?
No, you have to go into Sheets, and it's kind of a little finicky. I can never get it to work exactly the way that I want. So if you go into, hang on, let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Yes. All right.
Yes.
Yes, we got it.
So when you go into Sheets, you click on your responses. Sorry, blah. It's underneath, now I'm forgetting, I think it's underneath Data or Tools. Come on. Sorry, I've got too many tabs open right now. But you go, there it is, underneath Tools, it's Notification Rules, right? So you'd click on those and notify me at this whenever blank. But I think within the school like Kentucky, because there's no email addresses associated with them, you wouldn't get it. So you'd have to make the form with, are you talking about like for your tech support people that you do, Brooke?
Yeah, I wanted to do, that was one form I wanted to email me, and there's another one. We have like a blog in Hardin County with some teachers,
Okay.
and I wanted to be able, like if somebody wanted in on the Voxer blog, I wanted them to fill out the form and then have it emailed me so I didn't have to constantly be checking it.
Yeah, so I would go into like your personal Gmail address, make the form that way, or like copy it or whatever you need to do, and then trigger it to notify you on form submit, right? And then I guess I would go into your Gmail at home and set up like a notification rules where like when something comes from this form to email it to automatically forward it to your school account. So that way you wouldn't have to worry about, I guess when you went home, you'd get that email in your, let me try again. That way you wouldn't have to go home to check the form notifications. You'd get it automatically sent to your school one. That probably didn't make sense. Oh, did we lose Brooke? And James.
Oh, maybe.
Oh.
I'm here. I just had to change location. Sorry.
Okay, I thought you said you had a change there for a minute.
No.
I was gonna tell James he should share. We were at a conference this weekend, and I don't know if he realized this, but he was talking about the Google URL shortener. He should share what he shared on Saturday about that. Do you remember that?
I did say something about that. I don't remember what I said.
We were talking about how if you use the Google URL shortener, if you're signed in, it will track like the number of times somebody's used that URL that you shortened to access something, which is good for if you're trying to track if students are accessing information that you're giving them or that kind of thing.
I actually got that idea from Mike, and you could, like, I was telling the people we were talking to that day that you could like just on your website, even if you want to just add it, you could use the Google shortener, and nobody sees that, and it would take them wherever you want. But that way, just an easy way to put some tracking. Like, I know there's other analytics out there you can do, but it's just a quick and easy way to just track how many clicks you're getting.
See, I usually use Bitly because you can do customizable ones. So if I want my students to go to a form quickly, let's say, I might just do a Bitly and do like bit.ly/ eminence form or something like that.
I was talking more about like if this is for your school website or your where you have hyperlinked.
Oh, okay. So like track if they actually click on it.
Yes. So they don't actually need to see the shortened URL. It will just help track it.
That might make me depressed if I put a whole bunch of stuff together for my staff and they don't click on it.
Oh, it's information you need to know.
Yeah, of course. All right. Cool, guys. Well, listen, it's almost 11 o'clock, so I need to get up early in the morning because I just get up early. But thank you all so much. This has been fun.
Absolutely. It's always a blast.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
But I did want to plug EdCamp Kentucky at the end of October, edcampky.org. And I also wanted to plug the Kentucky Google Apps for Education Summit that's coming to Louisville in November. It's ky.gafe, summit.com. So it should be fun. All right. Thanks, guys. Peace. Peace. I'm going to go off air now.
Good night.
See you guys.